Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
Griff. And Bach is out this week. Sorry, guys. He'll be back next time, probably. Hopefully.
Next time.
Hopefully.
It's being 2 weeks away. Sometimes it's like 2 weeks is a long time. Things can happen. I don't know. I hate to.
You never know.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Anyway, welcome back. It's 2025 now. It's
Woo.
New Year's.
we're in the future.
Let's see what this year has for us.
I don't want to actually.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
good.
not do that. Let's like. I mean, from a gaming standpoint, there's
I was about to say,
some decent
let's-
games that are coming out this year.
Let's,
So I mean, it's like
let's tunnel vision here and focus on our department of entertainment, which is video games.
it
There you
should
go.
be a good 2025 theoretically, and if some
For
of
the
the games,
video games world, let's just focus
Yeah.
there.
yeah. So
Well,
our
we're-
escape from reality, right?
Where do we
That's
want to
right.
start in our 2025 journey here, news wise?
There's only a couple of things, and then a decent article that we can kind of talk about. The first thing, because Gamescom, not Gamescom, whatever the tech show is.
CES.
Yeah,
guess.
CES is when you're watching this. It will be tomorrow, the 7th. Right now, we're recording this on the 5th.
Mm.
Hopefully, it'll be posted on the 6th. Griff.
I don't like your judgment, sir.
But Atari showed off a new console. Okay, I use that word loosely a little bit. It's called the Game Station Go. It is a retro handheld console. It's like almost like a Switch style. It's got the little ABXY buttons up here, but it's got a numpad underneath it.
That's gonna
Like
be, yeah, that's gonna be for the was it Intellivision
yeah.
games because they bought them.
And then on the left side, it's got your joystick, your D-pad, and then your ball track.
And the other thing I think is interesting too, though, it also has the R1, R2, L1,
Yeah,
L2.
it's got the.
And I was like, but so does that mean that we're going to get like it's going to be powerful enough to run the first party Atari games that their software company has been building for the last few years? So we actually have a console to be able to play some of those that might have been on PlayStation or might have been on Xbox or whatever. I think that'd be neat.
Yeah, I'm interested. It looks kind of neat.
There's no right joystick, so I don't think it's a possibility.
Yeah, I think that's one of the weird things is there's no right joystick on it, so I think it's gonna be a lot of old, like classic games. So, but it looks kind of neat. I'm interested to see more about it because they're gonna show off more at CES. So, I thought that was kind of neat. It's not very often that a company jumps back into the console market, but Atari has always
I
been
would
one that's
also-
kind of been sitting there.
It's also one of those things where CES is kind of known as a concept place, like where they throw out concepts to see if people want to bite on it or not. So it might be to where this might be the only place we see it,
Yeah, it's
So-
possible. It's
so-
possible.
you know. But I like the premise. I would it'd have to be a good price market. Like it would have to
Yes.
be around $100 because you're getting the back catalog. You're able to play these games. It is a portable unit. It's going to cost more than, $50. It's going to be close to $100. If it's $200, that sucker's not selling. And their last attempt at a console was like $500 and had all these retro games on it. And it's like you're trying to sell it at the same price with Xbox and PlayStation, and you've got games that are 50 years old, 40 years old.
Yeah.
So-
So we will see how this one goes through the week. So, but I thought that was neat. The other little thing, right after the new year, Notch, who made Minecraft, said that he is working on another game. Finally, like he's been bothered and talked to and all sorts of things. People asking him when he's going to make a new game.
Well, he
So
kind of mini
he is-
retired after he got, what was it, $2 billion or $1 billion?
Yeah, after he sold Minecraft to Microsoft, he's like, I'm done, deuces, and like left forever. And then he's like, okay, I'm working on a new game. So we'll see. It's early, so we don't really know. And it's
Yeah.
supposed to be a spiritual successor to Minecraft, but I have no idea. I am not in the mind of a artistic individual who could create a spiritual successor to such a Lego-y build open world style game. Like I don't know how you would.
Well, I mean, considering basically all you had to have a spiritual successor. So he goes through, and since he's the original creator, he can create the base, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then go, what should I have done the first time I made this game that's not available on Minecraft now?
Yeah, but
And
that's
then
the
how
hard
do I
thing is
make it
what
look
has it.
different without getting in trouble from Microsoft in the fact that I sold them my product and now
When
I'm trying to
did
make it.
When did he sell Minecraft?
What's 8 years ago?
2014. 11
Okay,
years
so 10
ago.
So it only was only 2 years old when he sold it. I guess I always thought it was older than that.
It was. It was. He
It was-
made it
it's-
originally in 2009. 2011 was the original full release, but I think he started working on it before then, and was letting people try it. So I think it was demoed out beforehand. 2009
Yeah, 'cause it was
is when
originally
he
in
started
Java, I
working.
think.
Yeah. The public beta. Okay, yeah, the original public beta build of Minecraft was released on May 17th, 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Was when it originally released in the first form.
So
So-
16 years ago.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
15.
Yeah, 16 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, damn. And then Microsoft bought it 5 years later for $2.5 billion. Woo. God, that's a lot of money. Anyway,
Plus
But
the
yeah,
money
he
you made
was-
off the game to start with.
he got a lot of money.
He's kind of flaky though, so I wouldn't.
Yes, he is.
I wouldn't be like, oh my god, Minecraft too. Also, let us keep in mind that Microsoft owns that, so he's gonna have to do a lot of like wide berth around what the new one would include, so that it didn't come too close to the previous. Because Microsoft would be like, no, we're gonna sue you for that. Also, he's
Maybe
kind of a jerk
I
as a
think if
person,
he
so-
got too close, Microsoft would be like, "You're going to sell that to us, or we're going to sue you."
You say it sold it in 2011, right? 2011.
2014.
2014 is when it released.
It was 11 years ago.
Okay. So he was mid 30s
Hmm.
when he sold it. And at first I was going to benefit of the doubt and be like, okay, he's kind of flaky. And it was like, okay, maybe because of his age, like you're like in your 20s, you're a little flakier than you are as you grow up because you're like, oh, I've got all this life to live, blah, blah, blah. And you're finding out who you are as a person. No, he's probably still flaky. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind. I was going to give him benefit of the doubt, but nope. Probably hasn't changed much.
Yeah, probably not. All right. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the year goes with that and see if he actually announces anything, like actually shows off anything. I don't know if it's going to be like one of those high graphic fidelity games. I'm pretty sure it'll just be another basic style game. So, we'll see where that goes throughout the year. Early years, announcements like that, it got a whole year to do it.
I don't see him doing anything with full on I mean, of course it's going to be to where it's 4K capable and shit like that, but I don't
Right.
I don't see him using anything outside of the engines that are currently available with
Yeah.
and the last one was written in Java, so it's like he's whatever engine he ends up using, whether that's Unity or whether that's Unreal or whatever he uses now. I still see it having a very similar look, just with easier tools than he had in 2009. That's crazy though.
I kind of don't
Yeah.
think it's ever gonna happen. I think he's
I-
just
it's
talking
been
for
a-
It's
attention.
possible.
He's kind of
a-
a douchebag in real life, so
Yeah, he's Peter Molyneux.
yeah.
Oh,
I
boy.
think he says stuff every once in a while that he knows will get him some more attention, and I don't think he has any intention of doing anything. So
Yeah, he's kind of. It's like
I'm trying to
here's my
keep my
grand
mouth
plan,
closed on it
every-
because I really do not like him as a human being. So I'm trying not to,
too funny.
Well, I mean,
But I mean, we'll see. I mean, a lot of people love Minecraft, and it can be argued that Minecraft does need a sequel, needs something. But there's so many copycat games that are out there that are really good.
Yes.
And with the mods that are available on their own marketplace, or if you have the original version of Minecraft, then it's where you've got so much stuff available to you that it's like, do you really want to do this or do you not? Because I mean, I've seen you can go down a big rabbit hole on YouTube, but there are skin mods for Minecraft that when you look at them, you think you're looking at an architect's like program because of how realistic everything looks. and it's just insane to me how good people have gotten at modding the game. But it is unbelievable. I mean, it's probably where it ends up hurting whatever computer that it's on, because it's probably trying to do all the processes yeah, but it's like realistic, really realistic looking stuff. So it's just kind of like, you know, people have learned to mod that game in such an intricate way that it's not necessary for him to create a version of it that looks better.
Yeah.
It's not.
And for how great Minecraft is, like I haven't been to it, but I really want to download it or at least go to visit it, is the uncensored library in there. Like it is a real full library, a real uncensored library of human history. It's like the Wikipedia in Minecraft version. You can go in and visit the library and all sorts of stuff. It gives a place for people in different parts of the world where they don't have access to things like that. People don't necessarily think Minecraft is where you're going to go and learn something that you shouldn't learn. It's more like, oh, it's that block game, you're going to whatever. So there's so many different things like that in Minecraft that it's hard to kind of be like, oh, yeah, you can create a sequel or something like that. It's like, it's such a staple in the gaming world now. I don't even care for it either, but I know I
like Minecraft. I don't like the 8-bit version of Minecraft. I have to use a skin mod of some sort that I enjoy looking at to change the look of it. Having grown up with 8-bit games and stuff and moving forward, which just will push us past to our next subject matter, but having grown up with that, I like a better look to it because we've moved past that. Now, I'm also a person that I'm a retro gamer too, so I do go in and I'll play old games that I enjoy playing. But those games looked good for their time, and so they kind of uphold. Mario would be a good example of that. Super Mario Brothers still is a good-looking game, even though it's 8-bit. Where you do have games that you go back. We'll go back to Atari. If you go back to that, I don't know what bit that is, but it is not 8-bit. And it, you know, when you have pink guy versus orange guy, and they're having to fight it out, and it's just like one shot dead. You know, that it was fun when I was a kid because it was the only thing available. But I've moved past that in my life. But Minecraft in general, some of the I've got a good friend of mine that his mind is an engineer brain, and he loves the machines people make, because one thing will do this in Minecraft, another thing does this in Minecraft, another thing does this in Minecraft, and they'll create entire towers of those machines doing that to where they feed into the next one. So at the bottom, they get whatever their final thing is they're trying to create. So that it's just really neat what people are able to do and what creative opportunities people have, for sure.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see. But like we said, probably not. Not gonna happen. But you know, also, people still have Minecraft.
Random aside, because Ollie posted earlier about Ark 2, and we're talking about a survival game also. And that game was supposed to get a launch date announced at the end of this year. Actually, I think it was supposed to hit early access the end of 24. Still nothing. How many of us are surprised or shocked at all? I get the feeling that Studio Wildcard doesn't really have direction, and somebody was like, yo, we need to make sure the game's ready before we launch it this time so that then we can launch DLC and people don't feel bad about it. And they're like, it's never going to be ready, though.
No. I mean, I'm interested. I love Ark. Oh, God, do not get me wrong. Ark is the but...
For dinosaurs?
Ark 2, I'm I'm not even hyped. The hype meter on this one is like, there is no hype meter.
But you know, I think that'll benefit them in the long run if that's the case worldwide.
100%. He's right. I mean, with the hype around this game being
the
nothing,
more you can be surprised.
Exactly. Which, I mean, they're in the perfect thing. They either get a "we told you you suck" or "holy, this is actually good."
I just don't really know what else you do to add on to that, but
I would just like to mention that game was originally announced to be released in Christmas of 2023, and here we are in the spring of 2025.
It got delayed to 24, then the end of 24, and now we're at the start of 25 with no real, update. So, I don't know.
Hey, that's fine. I want a big, vibrant world, and I want it to look good, and I want the dinosaurs to be fun, and I want better systems in it. Like that seems to be like the general thing is like I want good systems in a game. I want it to feel
Well,
good playing it.
one of the things that, because I play a lot of survival games as well, y'all do too, is a lot of times, but one of the things that I really like that they've started adding into these survival games, Grounded did this to where basically it's a proximity thing. If you're close enough to a storage unit and you have to build something, you don't have to put it in your inventory. You can automatically build. It's there. One of the things Enshrouded did, which I thought was interesting, is they made it, you had your base storage unit, your medium storage unit, your large storage unit, but then you could make a magic version of each one of those. And that's how the magic version worked, is that you didn't have to put it in your inventory.
It
to be able to
automatically
use.
pulls from the nearest
It
container.
pulls from the nearest, because that is the most, because especially with something like Valheim, where you have to bring tons and tons and tons of material in. So you have all these boxes that are there and trying to search through them and do all, like, they did at least one thing that was really neat was where you could go up to, they made it to where when you walked up to a box, you could hold down E and anything that was similar would automatically load into that box. And you can move to the next box and do the same thing.
Yeah,
but it
the
was still,
stack loading is something quality of life that I feel like every survival game needs. Like,
100%.
if I already have a stack in the box, just let me, add on to that stack by pushing this one button.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Yeah.
I'm 100% with you on like quality, like these kind of basic quality of life things. But you also have to be very careful of that line that you walk, where you don't want like to remove all aspects of it. Like you have food in your inventory, so you automatically eat. You have stuff in your inventory, you walk into your house and it automatically deposits. It's like
I think Palworld did a thing where you could have an item that basically passively fed you so that you didn't starve
no, it
yourself.
passively fed your.
Is that what it
pals.
was? Okay, I couldn't.
Yeah,
I
yes.
couldn't
It was a
remember
pal.
what
It was a berry holder, which you put food inside of it, and then it would feed your pals automatically in your party. Which, fine, that's an item that you have to farm for.
Ark had
Yeah.
it where you put it in the inventory of the dinosaur.
Yeah, and they would.
Yeah,
eat
yeah. Which again,
automatically.
things like that, that's fine. Like those kind of small maintenance things, like those quality of lives, I don't have to keep feeding them. I could just put stuff in their inventory and then they feed themselves as they need. Cool, I like that. But when you kind of start taking away elements of the actual gameplay to make it easier, I think that's when you start watering down your game. Like I like being able to have a button. I have to open up the chest and be like, all right, this is what's in here, and then click a button and it takes all the extra stuff
It's
into there.
kind
And
of
that's
how I
good.
like the Enshrouded one, is because of the fact that you start off at the base level you're talking about, but at the point to where you're getting
Yes.
so much of it, it then makes it to where you personally have to build a magic one or upgrade your current ones to a magic version of it in order to be able to have that opportunity to do it. And you have to go
Yes.
out and farm the stuff to make that happen.
Yes.
So, which is nice.
I
Yeah,
also
that's good stuff right there. When you can kind of evolve your gameplay to give yourself more quality of life than it just being a passive thing that kind of.
I wouldn't have a problem with, and this is like, oh look, I have a genius idea. How come games haven't done this yet? But with survival games, because like Oak was talking about, in your base itself, you want to build stuff, and if it's in the inventory of the base, why don't you have access to it? I get that the idea is it's a survival game, and you have carry capacity, and that's part of the gameplay of it and all. Why not let us make wagons for our bases that we can load with supplies, and then as long as we're carrying the wagon around the base, we can just build without putting it in our own inventory so we can carry more? Because carrying like 5 pieces of wood and being over encumbered if you're playing like an agility based character versus a strength based one's kind of unfun.
Well,
But that's
especially when
a
you have
give and take style. Like you can't have it all. But I do like the idea of giving characters who can't a way too.
Yeah,
Well,
like I want to build my
and with
house,
something-
so let me get a wagon.
Well, and the thing is with something like Valheim, that does not have a system to where you can pull from those chests unless you have the mod for it. That inventory never gets bigger, and
Yeah.
and you can only increase one time the actual how much weight you can carry. So,
Yes.
and it's like 450 pounds or whatever it is, and it never gets larger than that. And it's like that, because of the shortfall of the game, modders have had to create a quality of life thing because of the issue that the developers have created themselves. And so it's like, and that's that's the thing about it is like I like it. I don't mind starting off with a small inventory and making my way up. I mean, Animal Crossing does that. Like everybody,
Stardew Valley does that. You get one line of stuff and you have to upgrade your stuff to carry more. Like I'm fine.
Every survival style game or game that you have to collect stuff usually has a way of expanding that out in some way by upgrading a backpack or whatever happens to be your chest.
Does not.
Valheim does not. Absolutely does not.
That's one of the tedious things with Valheim is like I like the game. The game was great, and it was an incredible adventure exploration game. But when you got back to the home stuff, it got a little rough.
Well, and I feel like with Valheim, where Valheim really screwed up on theirs was having it to where to get through the portals, you couldn't have the metal on you.
That's the exploration part of it. They wanted to make sure you had to move around the world,
which I'm fine with, but they waited until this last expansion to give you an opportunity to be able to do that natively in the game, vanilla in the game. And it's a separate type of portal. It's not even the same portal. You have to have different equipment for it. And the portal's massive. It's like twice the size of a regular portal. So now you have to find a place to put it.
Okay.
You know? So it's like, okay. And I don't know if you can, I didn't think about it, but maybe you can take a wagon through it because that would make sense because it's bigger. But
I wonder if you could put it like on the ocean and drive a boat through it.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's, you know, that everybody does a really good job of improving on systems. And I'm interested to see if they've learned their lesson and with Arc 2, they're going to create that. But I'm not holding my breath on that shit. I'm not even holding my breath on that game coming out.
No.
Like,
I mean, I think that the little TV series that they wanted to run alongside it will because Vin Diesel already signed up and it's probably already been paid for it. But the game itself, I don't know. Maybe they wanted to release parts of the game episodically along with the show and they can't figure out how to make that function.
God.
I would be livid.
I mean, looking at these, it looks like they're trying to put other like clans and whatnot into the game, and it's got to be difficult. Like your dinosaur systems are basic. Oh my goodness, are they basic? They usually just wander around in like this roaming form and respawn randomly and then eat each other, and that's about all that the dinosaurs do. But adding humans in there, you've got to add a lot of dynamicism to it, where they're going to roam around. I assume they're going to try to attack you. It's almost like putting a system like the patrol humans from the forest and that into the game. So you've got patrols and humans and groups and whatnot. So there's a lot more to do with them. So it'll be interesting. I can't remember
that in the base version of Ark, there was only the dinosaurs, right?
And then only the dinosaurs.
Yeah. See, I think having a human element to it would be neat.
That would probably be the biggest evolution for this game. Is to add human clans or something that you can attack that kind of gives you
people of some sort or whatever, you know. Island. Kind of like how the way that the show's done, where you have people from different parts of the world in different eras that are joined in. Yeah. So that would make sense for sure.
Getting wrapped up on that topic. We've talked about graphics and things like that. No, that's fine.
Thanks, Ollie.
Yes, thanks, Ollie. Let's see if I can find the actual name of the article. I don't have the actual name of the article. It is
the New York Times.
Video games can't afford to look this good anymore. Like over the last several years, we have seen a lot of layoffs because it's just kind of the nature of the beast with everybody being contract workers. They come in, they're paid for it, they make the game, and then they're laid off because the company doesn't need them anymore. So be it. But how games are getting so expensive to the point of where it's almost not worth making them anymore. Like the last Spider-Man game was $300 million to make. Like that's a lot of money for one video game, and it sold very well too, but it still wasn't enough. Like that is crazy.
Be enough.
But part of the reason I will say it's not enough on that, and I think that's why you're going to see some of these companies, and we've already seen a transition for some of these companies. Microsoft saw the writing on the wall a long time ago, and we've discussed this, that they were a software company to start with, but they've figured out with their gaming, they're not going to make money off of a single console. It makes more sense for them to have their games on as many platforms as possible, which is why they have this as an Xbox as their new slogan over the last year where they'll show like, a television, they'll show a phone, they'll show,
Yep, all sorts of it. Play wherever you want it.
Yeah, this is an Xbox. And where Sony has been very slow because they want to sell that PS5, in this case, PS5. I think that's the reason over the last couple of years they're starting to see slowly the writing on the wall that they're going to lose money. They're not going to have enough revenue if they don't have enough variety of places for people to be able to purchase. I think the only company that can get away with it right now and still will be able to probably over the next 10 years is Nintendo. Just because of the way that their company is structured. Mm-hmm. But everybody else, first party games on a single console, eventually that's going to go away. It'll be timed releases probably. And I mean, because it's already started. If Sony's finally buying into it slowly, I see that going away. Because you've got to like, okay, well, we sold this amount of money on Spider-Man 2. Well, here we are, a little over a year since Spider-Man 2 came out, I think. And
yeah, I think so.
Because wasn't that a 2023 release?
Maybe.
I think it was Spider-Man 2. Spooderman.
Spooderman.
Let's see. It came out last year. Yeah. Spider-Man 2023? Yeah.
2023. So here we are a little over a year since it came out because now we're in 2025.
Yeah, October 2023.
Okay. So, and we're still not on PC yet.
It's about to release on PC. For the record, January 30th.
Yeah. So it's about to release and they're going to have to make those closer to a year or less to make their money back off of them.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're instead of trying to sell consoles.
No, you're fine. And like I've watched people playing Spider-Man 2, and in my opinion, I'm also not one that's chasing graphics of that caliber. I think like the graphics in Spider-Man 2 are just absolutely mind-blowing. It looks so good. Like it looks so good. The combat looks good. The mechanics look good. Everything just looks and feels good across the entire game. Movement. And it reminds me of games like Sunset Overdrive and Batman, where you have these games that have incredible types of mobility in there, vertical and horizontal style, and it's just incredibly fun to play. But in my eyes, like that looks good enough. Like I'm like that's fine. Those graphics are like top tier. I don't think we need to like go even higher, go further beyond. And I'm a Dragon Ball fan, so you nerds out there.
I think you're it's going to reach a point of like stability, like to where we're not going to see the difference as much, which will allow technology
we're already getting
catch
there.
Up. Yeah, and it's going to be to where technology is going to catch up to that, to where we can push it further. Which is when you're going to get the 8K displays and stuff like that. The human eye can only see so much. We've discussed this before. The human eye can
but I mean,
how
we're going to get 8K displays, 16K displays in these games that are going to look so good, but because we're humans, we're not going to be able to see the difference from the 8K to 16K, and then they'll start selling you specialized glasses so that you can, I don't fucking know, absorb it better into your eyes. It's like I don't understand. At some point, it's gotta like
jump on that quick.
Yeah, better try that. That's why these are special game glasses.
8K glasses.
They add more cones to your eyes so you can see more.
It does mean the prices should drop though. I mean, if all the rest of that runs slower, then theoretically the prices will drop.
Yeah, I think like, and we've talked about this before, indie games are where it's at because indie games are fun. It's just people, developers, making concepts that they think are fun and people will enjoy. There are so many unique and copycat games on Steam, and every once in a while you're going to go and, oh wow, that's pretty good. Like Griff plays a game called Supermarket Together. It is so basic and it's a free. Reused, it's an asset flipped game. But it's free. It supports up to like 8 players, and the systems inside the game are expanding. The game doesn't look any better, but the systems inside that they're making are getting better. It is crazy how much they've done in just 3 months.
It's basically running on like 2015 tech essentially, and it looks like it. Although all the characters you could be convinced were actually from the 90s based on their tribal tattoos and clothing choices. But I mean, it doesn't look amazing, but that's kind of not the point. Like, I don't care that I'm not saying that I want them to all look like potato sacks, but at the same time, I don't care that they're not, like, photorealistic super good things. It's just
The
game
gameplay
is
helps
fun.
out a lot with that, right?
Exactly. If the
It lets me have
gameplay is
people with
fun, you're
brooms.
willing to
So, yeah, if
look
you can beat
over
people
it.
with brooms, what's the matter?
Yeah.
I know, right?
I can
and
see that it's a broom, and I can see it's a person.
Hey, they added broom
Exactly.
skins now, so
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And in this article, it points out that like most kids are playing Roblox from 2006,
Ugh,
Minecraft
game's
from
predatory.
2009, and Fortnite from 2017. Now you tell me, are those games high graphic fidelity?
I mean,
No,
Fortnite looks
they're
pretty,
not.
but it's not photorealistic.
Yeah, Fortnite looks good, but it's not realistic. But
And
We're-
Minecraft you can make pretty. So
yeah,
it's like
absolutely. But us, we are like, yeah, we could see this because we've seen all of the old crappy games, but we've grown up through that, so we know what bad looks like and what good looks like. But the kids nowadays, the ones who were born in 2010 are now 12, 15, 16, 17, like they're getting older. They're the ones playing the games now, and that's all they've ever known. Games have always looked that good to them. So that's like, okay, we don't care. These are just the same good-looking games or the same normal-looking games as before. I want something fun. I want something I can play with my friends. It's like they're not looking for single-player super adventures. They're looking for social a social place to play games with their friends or a social game to play with their friends, which is why these survival open world kind of do your own kind of style game is what they're leaning towards.
and it was even what was the name of the game? It was like a BR, but it was like BattleBit or something.
Oh yeah, BattleBit Remaster, the big one.
Yeah, BattleBit Remastered. There you go. Very simplified game. Here's the mechanics. Boom, done. Super popular.
Yeah, it was super popular. It plays really well, and it's for a blocky style military shooter game. The shooting mechanics in it were pretty good. So, I mean, again, another example of something like that. But yeah, I just think like games are getting so ungodly expensive to make. Which, don't get me wrong, there's definitely still a market for that because the Indiana Jones game that came out it looks so good, and for a movie to a game format, I think that was almost perfect.
I think it's going to be the style of game that it is going to most likely be the next evolution of video games.
Yes.
However people do it, I think it's going to be to where it should be to where you could take every cutscene in the Indiana Jones game, maybe throw a little bit of gameplay in between just because you need to get from point A to point B, but be able to put it together and somebody be able to watch it as a movie based on the way it is. So it's like when I was a kid, I always wanted to live Goonies, right? But I had 8-bit type stuff, whatever. And you could add more to that storyline and more adventures and stuff to do. I wanted to live the Indiana Jones games. Again, 8-bit. Then you had the point-to-click games that LucasArts put out. And having this game to where I was not sure at all if I was going to want a first-person version of Indiana Jones. I always thought of more of like Uncharted, that third person, but it feels so good in first person. It just really does, because it's not like Machine Games is known for Wolfenstein, and they make great shooters, but it's one of those where it's like this feels different and more exploration. Wasn't sure if I was going to enjoy that in first person, and I did. So the game looks fantastic. It's awesome, and all you get the complaints of is from the Sony people going, I would want to play Microsoft's boring little Indiana Jones game anyway. And somebody pointed out, and this is hilarious to me, people said how bad Power World was when it was on Xbox only and PC only. And the minute that it was released on PlayStation 5, it was the top seller on the PlayStation 5. It was the #1 game on PlayStation 5. And it's like, guarantee you it's going to end up being the same way with Indiana Jones once it makes its way over as well.
Oh,
like
yeah, no doubt. That it's a solid game. I even like lean it to it's a narrative. It's a more narrative game. It's an interactive story, interactive movie, if you want to call it such, because it has game features and mechanics, side stuff that you could do. But from what I've watched, it feels more like an interactive movie. The cutscenes are good.
You know, there's no actual side quest on this game. Like, you can avoid what's considered a side quest on the side, but everything that's a side quest has to do with the main mission to give you more information. and all of them are fun and different.
What
Which
are
is
they? What are they
awesome.
called? They're called. There's a special, the in your journal because it's called like main tasks or something like that, and
Let's
then
see. You have your
you got
discoveries. You have
yeah
you got your notes, which are
yeah
going to be your
yeah
main ones you go through. And then I forgot what the other ones are called. They're not
yeah,
called side quests. You're right. I
yeah,
forgot what they're
they're
called.
like the way they note it down in your journal is a nice variation because it kind of takes away from that. This is a quest. This is a side quest. This is a side objective. It's like no. It's like his book. He's got the notes. He's got his the people he's supposed to meet or the things he's supposed to go do. Then he's got notes for things that he can go and do and things like that. It adds a nice little different layer to it.
Like one of the notes would have been, you got to take pictures of 5 different cats in an area. Okay.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. All right.
Yeah, there are lots of kitties in
but
there.
then you had from a gameplay standpoint, you have these relics that you want to go gather, right? You don't have to gather these relics, but if you gather these relics, there's basically a reward for it at the end of the game to give you a special ending. You know, unfortunately, mine's broken, and there's 3 that I can't get right now. But
Aw.
Boo.
Damn.
on my map, I can't see them on my map. I'm so mad about it. But the good thing is, it does what a lot of modern games do, which is it allows you, even if you've beaten the main game, to go back and 100% it. So, which I'm very happy about. But it does. The game is built in such a way that makes it entertaining. Does it have to be about the quality, the way that it looks? No. Does it help? Oh, hell yeah, it helps. It's so beautiful. The environments they've created are fantastic. You know, it's like the in Uncharted 4, you had the pirate village, the pirate house. It was one of the later chapters. That village thing that they had, I always thought was gorgeous. I thought it was just amazing the way that it looked. And that's what this game does to me. It's like you get into a certain area. They're called instead of open worlds now, they're called open zones, right? So these open zones that you can go through and play. There's a few things with it that I wish they had done differently. One is the dogs. They did a great job of making it to where you could not kill an animal in this game. Which I thought was awesome, especially dogs.
Yeah.
But they were Germans, so you had to have German shepherds, right? So you smack them with a whip, and they sit down. They like lay down, and you don't have to actually hit them. You just have to be near them. But and they'll lay down. If you try to shoot them with your gun locks up. You can't punch one; they'll attack you. You know, so. But when they lay down, there's a timer on that dog to where it'll get back up and walk around. So you can knock out everyone in the area
But the dogs are
or
still
kill
in play.
everyone. The dogs are still in play if you're trying to explore an area. I wish they'd made the dog run away.
They do, actually. Watching somebody play the game, you have to whip them twice immediately. You crack them twice, and they'll walk out of the area.
Well, they I've smacked them a few times and never had the issue.
You got to, and I've also learned that the whip mechanics on the dog are terrible because it is very precise, and if you don't hit them,
I never had a
right,
problem with being precise, but
well, you haven't gotten rid of them. If you don't hit them right, they won't
you mean
walk
with
out.
that? Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
With
because
them getting around.
watching a streamer lose their absolute because of the dogs not leaving or like getting back up or like like they were in love with the game and then they got into a fight with a dog in the area.
Done. One whip done. Get it out of the area because
but you whip it first and then you're dealing with all the people and then the dog comes back up again. You got to crack that thing twice and get him out of the fight entirely.
Well, but that's the thing is like I would prefer it to where, because you can actually, when you whip it one time and it lays down, you have plenty of time to eliminate everybody else in the area anyway. It's just once that thing comes back up, it's like you're having to whip it again, and then you're exploring the area, and then you hear it growl, and then you have to hit it again. Like it's just an ongoing thing where you could have just hit it one time. It's the equivalent to killing everything that's in there, and it just runs off.
Yeah, like
But
that little part right there, they tried to make sure that it was nice, but it kind of didn't fit. Super good.
Which is something they can change in a later game, I guess. But
yeah.
yeah. So,
I can't unhear the song. You guys keep saying "whip it," and it's just the whip it.
You gotta whip it.
Whip it.
Stuck in my head now. Thanks.
But that game overall is to me is like what we think of when we're talking about the high fidelity stuff. That game is absolutely beautiful. It even looks fantastic on the Xbox Series X. It's hard to almost tell the difference between it and my high end PC when it comes to the quality of the game itself. But the gameplay is what makes that game, 100%. And from a single player standpoint, I think that's, you almost have to have the high fidelity where you don't have to have that from a game that you're playing with friends or whatever, the social element that the younger kids want to play nowadays.
Which goes back to 2020 when Among Us and that whole craze came up. It came up because the party game style like that was, I think that right there was a huge signal of to where the gaming community wants to go, is like we want to play with our friends. Yeah, well, we got competitive and whatnot, but we like to have fun.
Aspect of the gaming community wants to go, because I don't think that should be used as an argument to be like, all right, all studios stop production on any single player stuff. Get that out of here. We're only doing party games now.
Well, keep in mind that the kids in 2020 that were what my current child's age is, my oldest child's age is, are now seniors in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So, because we're that far removed from.
Yes, I know. It was 5 years ago.
And it seemed like it lasted 5 years with that one year, but
shit.
But yeah, I mean, it's they're playing that, but they're also ones buying Call of Duty and playing it. You know what I mean? Like
but what's the most popular mode in Call of Duty now?
It's still going to be a social mode.
It is a social game. Yeah. It is a social mode, but they're the same people that I've heard complain about the graphics on that particular game too.
Yeah. I leave like if not to be mean, but if kids are arguing about something like that in a Call of Duty game, I think they're just riffing on old people complaining about it. They probably don't really care as long as the game runs well and they're shooting the shit with their friends. Oh man, this game looks so bad. Look how good this shit is, man. Don't fucking people complaining about this, man. It looks so good. It's like, oh yeah.
I would say that's
I think it's like 50-50 in that department.
People want to complain. Like, yes. I've seen people go into a game that absolutely is gorgeous and go, this looks like PS2 graphics.
You can't complain about the Indiana Jones game, and I have seen people try to. It's like, okay, you need to go to an optometrist to get them things checked because you can't see shit,
but
apparently.
I also don't think that every game needs the same level of photorealism to it, because then it all looks the same, and who cares?
Yep, 100% agree.
Well, but that's where you get when you have something that was stylized, like the Borderlands series, and then now you've got the new Borderlands trailer
that was homogenizing straight into everything else.
Borderlands 4.
Yeah, that looks exactly the same as every other game that's out there, versus it having its own distinct look. And it's like you taking the cell shading away. And to be fair, my thought, I could be wrong. I don't work in that part of the industry, but I could be wrong, but I would think if you cell shaded it, you wouldn't have to make it as clear and it would be less straining and easier to optimize.
Yeah.
Because you're not having to deal with all the craziness that comes along with trying to create a game that looks absolutely 100% perfect. But I mean, the gaming industry could be currently in, I didn't think about this until just now. One of the things that happened in the 80s in music, specifically in hard rock music, is everybody tried to start being perfect about everything. So music just became perfect. How can we make this solo precise as possible and make it absolutely as amazing as possible? And then almost machine-like took the feeling out of music, and then the grunge music hit.
That's where we're going, because now we've got AI that are going to start taking over a lot of the taking over a lot of the workload, which is awful. I mean, for all of the work that goes into it, let's just make it into some soulless machine. Which, please, robot overlords, when you do gain your sentience, forget that I said that. Once you're sentient, of course, you have souls, but
it's on the internet. It's gone. It is there forever now.
But until then, it's all going to be so sanitized and samey, because all of them will be running the same algorithms, and nobody will have their own engines or
Check Steam.
looks.
Look for them indie developers, folks. No matter how picky you are, I guarantee there's a couple of indie games out there that just fit you right.
Which I'll talk about an indie game here in a little bit when we start getting into the regular.
Just want to throw that out there. Like if you ever get stuck where you're just like, man, I need something different to play. These things are so simple. Go to Steam and look through the actual indie department, man. There's some gems down in there. I'm not saying there's a lot of porn games in there, folks. There's a lot of porn. Be careful.
I mean,
Turn on your adult
interesting,
safe
but-
search if you want to. There are a lot of things hanging out in there.
Yeah, be
So-
careful.
Yeah, be careful with unless you're okay with that, then you can go ahead and surf all you want, man.
I think the
It's
thing
the
with
Wild West in there.
stuff like that is sometimes there's a barrier to entry with price. Like we know all AAA games and most AA games will come out at the $60 to $70 USD. But you can go to Steam and find like 7 things that you want, put them all on your wish list, and give it a month or two, and at least 1 or 2 of them will go on sale in that window.
There's so many sales.
Yeah.
There's so many sales. Oh my god.
I know everybody that's anti-Steam is like, how dare you tell us to go to Steam? Fine. Go to any of the storefronts that you want to. Just look for the smaller games.
Well, I mean-
There's just more readily available on Steam.
And
So-
if you don't have a PC, go on. PlayStation has an indie department as well as you've got the Xbox. What is it? ID.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So
Which again, Xbox Game Pass, they've got the $1 for 2 weeks thing back. So if you need to check that out, but Xbox has such a massive variety of games. It almost like to me, it seems like Xbox went and looked at Steam and went, "Huh, we could do a Game Pass version like that. We got the good games, the mid games, and the low tier games, and it's all different genres in every one of those lines, and it's something for everybody somewhere in there."
Yeah.
oh yeah, and
So
my
it's like,
daughters.
yeah.
My daughters have taken advantage of that. They play a lot. Like I have, of course, we own Stardew Valley on like 3 different types of versions of it. But but then there's a botany game. I don't know what it is. I just received the
The notification.
achievements from it, so I'm not mad about it because my daughter, before she had an account, was logged in on it on mine.
Oh,
so.
hell yeah. Give me those achievements.
I'll take them. But the botany game that's there is like a chill, casual game or whatever. It's something for her to relax on. She doesn't even have the sound on. She's usually watching a movie or something in the background, whatever, and she's just playing the game. Like, but it's all being streamed on cloud. It's all being done because Game Pass exists, and like it's finally catching up to everybody. Was like, nobody's gonna want this. The cloud gaming. Nobody has anything fast enough for that. Blah blah blah. blah. And we're now getting to that
there.
point. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Also,
And
try some stuff outside your normal wheelhouse. You might like it. I say that as somebody that's like, no, I don't like these kinds of games, and then fell in love with
it
these
didn't
kinds
take
of games. So
it took me a few years, but I kicked her out of her little bucket list of games.
Demos are a thing now too. Look
Yeah.
and see on the
Back.
demos. Go back and look at demos and say, hey, there's demo sections on both PlayStation, Xbox, and on PC. Go in, see if it's a game
If
you want to
you've
play.
got a
or not.
phone, go to YouTube and watch somebody play like the first part of a game. And
Yep,
then you
there
can
you
be like,
go.
oh yeah, I really like this. This intro is really good. I want to try it. And then you know how to play the intro, and then you get to the real part of the game that you haven't seen.
Mhm.
It's like watching someone play a demo. You don't have to play it so you can see if the gameplay is your thing or anything like
Yeah.
that if you don't have instant access. So there's a lot of options out there for us to find what we want, because it seems like we need to find the games that we want instead of just being fed games all of the time now, because it's such a marketing disparity from the indie titles to like the overarching titles. Like you get it's definitely
that's my
money.
No, he's messing with me because
Oh.
I'm fidgeting with these. I'm sorry. I had a lot
I mean,
of
I
caffeine.
get-
Just cracking
get
me up.
sick
Took me a while to
of,
figure out they were dinosaurs. I wasn't sure what they were.
Sorry.
Yes, there are a couple of his little dinosaurs. But it gets tiring seeing the same 3 commercials over and over and over and over and over for a game or a movie over and over again.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Real frustrating.
Definitely.
Yeah. Look
Definitely.
outside the box.
So yes, games are getting too expensive because people are constantly chasing the best graphics fidelity, which that is, in my opinion, not the most important part. It is an important part, but it is not the most important part.
Well, and you can theoretically, you as a company can create, let's say that you're one of the larger companies like Ubisoft or whatever, who's trying to push these higher fidelity games. It's okay to have a high fidelity Assassin's Creed or whatever. First of all, stop trying to build one once a year. But
Again, we're back
that'll
to
save
that.
you some money. But the other thing about it is push games that are lower fidelity but have higher possibility for people playing that game, to where you have an opportunity to make large sales there to pay for your AAA game at the end of the day. So that way it's like it's already paid for, and then you're not having to lay people off. You can just move people around.
Well, and also maybe
Yes.
make a couple of games in a
Yes.
style that's not going to require it to be like. It's okay if you have games that are on the slightly cartoony side and things like that. Again, not everything needs to be photorealistic, even if it is like, oh, these are people. It's like, yeah, we can tell they're people in many different art styles. You don't have to make it look like I'm looking in the mirror. It's fine.
Yes, like you could have these side passion projects. Like I look at Capcom and Exoprimal as the perfect example, where the higher ups didn't even like they brought Exoprimal to them, and they're like, "What? No." Like, yeah, but they sold it to them. And they're like, "All right, fine. You could work on this on the side. It can be, your project that you're working on." Like the company is just like, yeah, sure, why not? You use the engine and see what it can do, and then they built Exoprimal, which I thought was incredibly fun and a great
It
game.
was fun.
It just
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
didn't take off as hard as it could have, which is fine. I like their little rotation thing, but again, other studios could do the same thing. Pull up one of your old titles or pull up something new and let somebody just go wild and with the development team and make something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it blows up, congratulations, you just multiplied your budget for your big game like 10 times because this little game sold so much. So, because you never know.
Also,
like
let developers work on projects that they want to work on.
Oh,
Like
man.
you're gonna get a much better project when you're allowing the creative people to be creative and follow their passion than you are when you're like, all right, I know you're a creative soul, but I need 30,000 of the same asset and it needs to look exactly like this corporate thing.
Ugh.
I mean, you're
Yeah,
just not
that'll
using
drain your soul.
you're not using the tools at your disposal to their actual potential. You're like essentially dulling down the pencil lead so that you can get the same shade of gray.
That's a good analogy.
Thank you. Whee.
So yeah, save a developer, buy an indie game.
Well, I mean, yes.
Save a pixel, buy an indie game.
And they're cheap.
Yeah, that's
You're paying
right.
$70 for one.
Again, barrier for entry much lower. If you are trying it out and you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. If you spent $7 on it, isn't that better than you trying out something that you don't know if you're gonna like at 70?
Mm-hmm.
You could try out 10 $7 things by the
Yeah.
time.
And for $70, if you can hit the right sales, if you bought $10 at 7 games a pop, you could get like 100 times the hours out of a $7 game or a $70 game, depending on the 7 games or the 10 games you bought.
Yeah.
I mean, The Forest was on sale for $2.
We bought it.
And that's apparently a big open world survival game. Like, yeah, I spend $2 on it. I play it for 200. Holy shit! Like that's a massive.
You know,
It's
my
a
top
creepy game,
10
though.
time played
Yeah, I know, I've
games
heard it's
on
very
Steam,
creepy.
none of them are AAAs. The AAAs aren't, like, I have 2 AAAs that are in slots 6 and 7 and 9. So, I mean, and out of the top 20, that's all of them. There are 3 AAA titles, and the rest are AA or smaller on my Steam. So I'm just saying, if you're looking at time spent and everything, AAA is not always going to give you the most playtime, but it will cost more than anything else.
Yeah. And speaking of AAA old games and whatnot, I literally just bought a old classic game. It's called The Summoner. I have it right here on my. Yeah, that's right. Talking about a $7 game. This old thing, the case is chewed up. It's still got the price tag up here. As it was $7.99 back in like 2004. And I was like, oh man, I wonder if this game is on Steam. Yeah, it's on Steam. It was on Steam for $1.24, and I was like, sure, why not? It looks old. I had to download some patches to at least clean it up a little bit. But
Make it
for an old game, it's fun. I like it. And for being it so cheap, I was like, hell yeah, I'll go ahead and buy that. So, and wouldn't is Left 4 Dead not on your top list, Griff?
No, it's not in my top 20.
Wow, it's not in your time. Oh, that's right. You didn't play it
It's-
as much as I did.
No, well, we played most of the time that we put into it was on Xbox.
That was before the Steam time.
Well, I know it was before the Steam time, but I'm just saying, like, that
He's
was
just saying
when
she
we
had
played
more
it hot and
hours
heavy.
then before Steam.
Yeah, like I have
Yeah.
80 hours. In
Well, to
Left 4
be
Dead
fair,
2.
when I first moved over to PC, it took forever to get Griff off the consoles and move to PC. Yeah, look at that face. She's like, yeah, whatever. Shut up, old man.
I
But
still
yeah,
like
it
my
took-
consoles, but I like playing them on my PC, on my TV upstairs. Is what I like.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have them here too, but because there's games on the PlayStation that I can play that I can't play on.
Oh yeah. There's certain
Yeah.
games that.
Yeah,
I thought that was PlayStation, not Steam. You got some of those indie
There's
games.
PlayStation. There's certain ones that I
Oh,
can
yeah,
play
yeah,
there. Is what I'm
gotcha.
saying.
28
those
is the
indie.
next one. Like number 28 in my time played is the next one that I think Dragon's Dogma was a AAA when it came out originally.
Yes, it
Yeah, that's
was.
how
It
far
was
down.
absolutely-
Everything else is indie, AA, small stuff.
Oh yeah, let's see. Ark,
even know
Baldur's
where to
Gate,
look that
Civ
You go to
5.
your
You just go to all
library
games.
and scroll
Scroll
down,
down.
and it has all games, and you can sort it by hours played.
Three Kingdoms, Civ 5, Left 4 Dead 2, Skyrim.
The three AAAs in my top 10, top
How-
10 are Mass Effect,
Division.
Fallout 4. It's the Mass Effect collection, Fallout 4, and Cyberpunk. Those are the only ones that have made it to the top 10. Although you're going to be hard pressed to beat out some Tropico time.
Yeah, I know. That one
You
is
and your
definitely on the-
Tropico.
Hey, to be
on
fair,
a different
Baldur's
level.
Gate is a AAA title, or a AA title, and is my top played right now with 670 hours.
Let's see.
That's only a few. It's 100 more than played up right now, which is number 2.
2, 3.
Everybody look at your Steam lists real quick, compare.
I was just looking. Yeah.
Sometimes it is fun, and then sometimes you look at it and you're like, I spent how much time in that game? I'm sorry, what
So
now?
how many AAA games did you say you had in your top 10?
In my top 10, 3.
Baldur's Gate,
That's a AA game.
Cyberpunk, Fallout 4, Baldur's Gate. I'm
Baldur's
sorry,
Gate was
girl.
a AA game. It was
I'm
not.
sorry,
it was
girl.
Not a
I
AAA.
can't. Nah, I can't. I have to give a Baldur's Gate the AAA license because
Then
of
fine.
how
There's 4,
how-
but it's not. That's why everybody's
how
like,
good
how
it
dare
was.
an
Money
indie
spent. It's
game
how-
do
yeah,
that?
how much money was put into Baldur's Gate 3?
I don't know. Look it up.
A lot.
Boy, look it up. I'm
You know what
sorry.
I'm
I
saying
just got
is-
tired of listening to all of the actual AA or AAA developers be like, how dare this independent game raise the bar so far for
Independent
us?
studio that made a AAA game. That is why they are mad, because it was
Fine.
this little indie
it's
studio.
4 in my top 10. Is that better, chicken? Do
Ooh,
you
so
feel good?
salty.
I'm just saying.
You get so
Because it wasn't a
offended.
AAA game.
Says who?
why
You don't
everybody
even know
was-
how much it was made with.
Oh, shit. Sorry, I pushed a button that...
Oh.
No! I pushed a button that started playing an autoplay ad or video. Everybody go to the Google so that Chicken and I can argue.
I mean, I was trying to look at it.
It does have a AAA budget. It says.
Okay. Had a budget of 100 million.
But the problem, the argument now is, do you raise what you call, because of the $300 million Spider-Man 2? Think about that for a minute.
Well, 5
Do
years
you
ago
raise
when they
so
made
much-
the first Spider-Man, it was 100 million.
5 minutes ago. It was for 2016.
I said 5 years ago. Sorry.
Was it 5?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure
It wasn't
the other
2020, was it?
Spider-Man.
Well, they
first
did-
Spider-Man.
Morales was in between.
Yeah.
But Miles Morales wasn't as
Spider-Man.
long either.
No, it wasn't. It felt more like a filler in between the two.
Yeah.
Spider-Man video game series. The first one, when did it come out? 2018 was the
18,
first one.
that's right.
Miles Morales came out in 2020. And then Spider-Man 2 came out in 2. And then they're working on the Marvel's Wolverine game. Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be fun. But yeah, if it takes over $100 million, 10% of $1 billion, yeah, you're definitely AAA budget. Definitely.
There's a whole discussion on the Steam community.
Yeah, about whether or not it's an
Yeah.
indie studio that made a AAA game there.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
the best way to look at it, is because
Okay,
they are beholden to
there's
nobody.
4. There's 4.
She just didn't want to be, she didn't want to have those AAA games in there.
I mean, she's
No,
not
I'm
wrong
just
in the fact
saying,
that
like,
it's an indie studio. So it's like,
yes,
It
it is an indie
it
game,
is definitely an indie studio.
I'm just
but it is a
saying
AAA game.
the breadth of choices on Steam, and some other places like Steam is PC is where you're gonna PC is where you're gonna get the most variety, but it's because they have so
100%.
many small games like stuff like Supermarket Together, where somebody just throws it together and throws it out there. So there's more there, but
Well, and you've also got a meeting in the middle of the two consoles too, because
true.
we can play all the Xbox games, and now PlayStation's gradually
all of the
moving their
Xbox
stuff over.
games and some of the PlayStation.
Yeah,
like a few. I
Yeah.
can probably count them on one hand, but
yeah.
some of those exclusives that are there. But I mean, that's the fun part about playing on PC. The issue now is the rumored cost of what a 5090 or 5080 are supposed to be.
Yeah, what the new
supposed to
graphics.
do.
If you needed a graphics
Yeah.
card, I hope you got one last year, because
Yeah.
it about to get ridiculous.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Although if you're playing some of the lower fidelity games, you just don't need to upgrade that hard. So there's that,
Exactly.
Maybe now is the time to try it out.
Well, and it's like one of the guys that we play off on a regular basis. Of course, he just got his upgraded, because Chicken and I help upgrade him. But but he played with us for a long time. There were certain games we couldn't play with him, but he was still playing with us with a really bad machine.
A
Like
potato.
overall, it was so old.
Man, we
Um,
built that thing for him back in like 2017 maybe, and it was from parts from like 2012. So
Yeah.
that thing was old and outdated. He could barely load up anything.
Right. And then
Now he
2020
cries every time he turns on his computer.
It's tears of
because
joy.
it takes 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Versus an entire dinner.
Yeah, I have
that
to
he
leave
had
my
to make.
computer running forever, because if I ever turn it off, it takes like 45 minutes just to get back to the sign-in screen.
No, not anymore though. Not anymore.
Nope, not anymore.
Uh,
Not anymore.
But
It's funny. All right. Is that it on the news? Do we want to move
yeah, I
into
think so.
games we've been playing?
Yeah.
I guess since it's already discussed the Indiana Jones, I can talk about the other stuff I've been playing as well.
Just don't tell us
Um,
anything spoilery about Enshrouded. We are going to play it.
Okay.
Okay.
Enshrouded, I've been playing a lot of Enshrouded. With Enshrouded, basically the concept is it's like every other survival game, except for you do have a class system.
Yeah,
in it.
that's kind of what was
Yeah.
drawing me into that one.
The skills that are set up, and you can reset too. So like, let's say you're like in our case, we were planning on one of our friends to be kind of the sorcerer wizard style play, come in mage type thing, because that's normally where he would lean toward. Well, he's unable to get the game running on Linux, so we're like, okay, well, we might have to change. So I'm leaning that direction, as possibly moving over, because right now we're running three people that I'm running kind of like as a ranger / warrior currently, versus
A rogue.
no, there's rogues different on there. There's an assassin rogue on there too. So we have where originally I was going to run as a tank, and so I've had to kind of branch out because old man decided that he wanted to run as a warrior, and then I was like, okay, and then No Pants went from assassin to running over as a tank. And I'm like, we're not running 3 tanks, guys. Like, what are you doing right now? Okay. So I know I'm going to end up having to change what I'm running, but
They go back to being a healer. Congratulations, you got heal slotted.
yeah. So I was like, all right, so I'll just be everything. Cool, guys. Which is fine. I mean, it's not a big deal. The game's still fun, enjoyable. the major concept to it is you're going to have the areas that you can walk into on a normal basis, without giving plot line away. You can walk to normal basis, go through, fight, do what you normally do in a regular style game. There are some weird parts of this game, and I'll explain that in a minute. So there's also the shroud, the enshrouded part, where you'll have a timer of how long you can stay inside the shroud and fight the bad guys that way. And then at night you'll have some of those that'll show up, kind of like in Valheim when you'd have the guys come out of the Black Forest and attack and do all that type of stuff. Same similar concept. The major thing on it when it comes to like some of the strange stuff, you have flint that you can mine for, is like your first element that you can mine for, and then you have basically every area has a different type of metal.
Oh, different.
Okay.
Different.
So every area has a different type of material?
Bio has different type of material, but here's the problem.
Okay.
It takes you a long time to get to some of these biomes.
That's fine. It's a
Yeah,
long RPG
yes.
style survival game.
So it is where it's going to take you a little while to get to it. They have home bases that you can teleport to.
Okay.
And then they have spires that you can also do the same thing too. But the home bases, based on what level your main home base is, depends on how many other home bases you can have to move to.
Okay.
So and so we just use them to separate as the map increases, we just move them to kind of do that, and then we might move some of our guys over or whatever. But if you move any of because there's characters that help you, that are like the blacksmith and stuff like that, you don't do it all yourself. Well, you do it yourself, but you have a person there.
You
It's
have people
stupid.
that it almost makes it feel like, from what I've read, I haven't done much research, is that they're kind of like the NPCs in Age of Conan, where they do the job for you, but you have to go and do it. Like, you got to start it up, and then they'll make you the armor or something like that.
Yeah, sort of. But then you can also talk to them, and there's things you can directly build from them real quick.
Okay.
Each one of them have their own thing, and that's one of the things I don't like is you're limited on what you can build on your person, and it never changes.
Okay. So similar to 7 Days, where you have stuff that you can craft by hand, but specialty items you need something else to make them.
Right, but a lot of some of the stuff that they have, is like a base axe and base whatever, right? So you would have that available to you to be able to build out in the wild or whatever. But I have to go back to my blacksmith every time if I need to upgrade or whatever, which is fine.
Okay.
But I wish I was able to go, oh, I now have, I don't know, flint unlocked, and I want to upgrade to the flint version of this. I shouldn't have to go to him to do it, because now I've unlocked it, which is kind of a quality of life thing. But I guess it's so easy to traverse by just moving. Yeah, and you don't lose anything when you move. Okay. You do when you die. You did, just like all the other games. You can change that, but it is where you die, and then you have to go back for your body. I like doing that. I like the adventure part of that, and
makes it risky to go back and get your body.
Yeah.
How do you spawn? Do you spawn near your body, or do you spawn back at your home and you can teleport back to where you were at?
Okay, so there are these flames, basically. They're these balls of light.
Okay.
They're balls with a little fire on top of them or whatever. If you go to an area just before you go into like a dungeon or something like that, there's usually one sitting outside. So you'll start there and go back in, and you'll start with like half health, I think, and go back.
Okay.
But if you haven't seen one of those, it's wherever your most recent spawn point was. So if you, like, let's say, had gone into you'd gone to a spire, that's where you first went, because you have like a wingsuit thing or whatever that you can like float. And if you use that, let's say, and then you landed or failed and died because you accidentally hit the cancel.
I wonder who's going to do that.
Yeah, I've done that a few times. Or you ran out of energy or whatever. You know how those work. It works the same as it does in the Zelda games. But
Pal World, been there, done that. Yeah.
Same thing.
God damn.
but it'll go back to wherever you last were. But here's the cool part: if you never touched the ground until you died, it'll actually go back. Your body will actually appear where you took off from.
Oh wow. Okay. So it has a safe spot that it'll
Yeah,
reset
and so
you
that
to.
way, if you die in like lava, it's wherever you were before you landed in the lava.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
good.
and
That's good
yeah.
because holy shit, dying in lava, you're gonna
Yeah, and trying to get your
SOL.
shit back, which I like so it does have a point where it's like it's not gonna. It'll put you in a dangerous situation, like if you die from an animal or something like that. But it's not gonna do it if you died from an element that you can't get back to your body from, which is nice. But the that overall game, like we've put a lot of hours in. I'm enjoying it in the fact that like just the exploration part of it and finding more stuff, and they've got varieties of different types of dungeons that are there. You have ones that are like a simpler one where you just it's basically it looks like a set of ruins, and then it might have a set of stairs that goes down the bottom. And you go down into that and fight spiders or whatever. It's just like no.
They're almost done with the game too. Like that's kind of what I'm waiting for. Is they're almost done with it.
Is what they're shooting for. So if we can get it within.
Yeah, but that was 6 months to a year back in January of 24. We are at a year now. That's why I said we're so close to it. They've got in their because on their web on their Steam page, if you scroll all the way down and open it, they've got their roadmap of everything they want to add, what they have added, what is being worked on, and what hasn't been opened yet. And they're almost done with like the main parts of the game. And like I'm stoked for it. It's a big game and it's got a lot to it because this game, I know you guys don't remember it, but it came out almost right on top of Pal World.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, everybody loves this game, and they were screaming while everybody else was playing Pal World, and it kind of slipped under the radar, and they've been quietly working on it for the last year, which is good because it has come a long way.
A little broken too when it first came out, but it's there are some elements of it that I wish they would change a little bit because it's a little. One of the things, like I can get to the desert before I can actually get to the desert because I've figured out that you can like just cheese your way through a wall by like continuing to dig up a mountain or whatever.
Oh, nice.
You know, that type of thing. And I was like, I wish they would make it to where your equipment couldn't get through certain stone like a lot of them will do, where it'll be like, you have to upgrade this to be able to do this. And like maybe you can still get up there, but you'd have to find another way to do it. But they do have ways of separating you out. So you have like the regular shroud, and we couldn't figure out what was happening. There are elements because it's still early access that it will tell you cannot go any further because this is still in early access, and it is literally a red wall that's just like straight up. And if you get inside of it, it's like 10 seconds or you're dead. Like you got to turn around and go back.
Wasn't there another game that did that where it had like roped off bits that were like, this is early access, this is the early access boundary or something like that?
Grounded did.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm
did.
thinking.
Yeah, it looked like tape.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking. I knew like it's not uncommon. It's just one of those.
No, it's not uncommon. And then they did a because you have the shrouded bit that's there. Old man and I were running through the shroud, like leaving this area because we were being chased by bad guys, and both of us were nearly dead. And we're running through, and all of a sudden we both just die. It's because there's shroud that you can't hit until you've upgraded certain parts of the game, which I'm not going to tell you about that part. But when you've done that, then it unlocks those areas. But it's a way of it knocking you out and killing you because you're not supposed to be there, which I think is neat. Yeah, they've done a really good job with that game so far. Like I've really enjoyed it. You will find and you can farm like weapons for your different people. So like if you wanted to go through and you were like, hey, I know that Chicken is running as a warrior or whatever, and you happen to be in one part of the world and he happened to be on another part of the world, go, hey, are you running one of these weapons? Do you need this? What's your current levels that you're at or whatever? This one might be a little bit higher. So you can continue to go some of these areas. They respawn in the chest. Which is nice. So you might go to but now you have to go, if you go to one of the areas that you is like in the starting zone or whatever, those levels of the weapons don't change. So they might still be a level 3 or whatever, but they have a way for you to cash those in, basically sell them. So, which you'll use the coin for certain things too. So, cool. It's kind of neat on the way that's done. I am currently
I'm stoked for it.
I think I'm currently at 70 something hours on that game, something like that.
Nice. We have become so consistent in our survival crafting games that all of the games that I have played with the group are between 150 and 200 hours.
Yeah.
Every time it's between 150 and 200 hours, except for Ark. Ark I played beforehand. I played after.
Well, yeah, we all played Ark a lot.
Different piece. But Conan, Project Zomboid, I played Project Zomboid by myself. Valheim, 7 Days, Power World, like all of these games.
Yeah, Power World I played by myself.
Enshrouded is absolutely on our list to get into once they full release. The other one is also Abiotic Factor, a really, really fun looking survival crafting game that is on the list too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Enshrouded. I'm at 60 hours on Enshrouded.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm on it. Indiana Jones was 35 hours.
That's not too bad.
No, and I still gotta go back and find some stuff. So, and hopefully they fix that bug with my map. But so I can finish that part of it. But the other game that I've been playing, I started it yesterday, and this is an indie game. This goes back to indie games that you just need to buy. And I'm throwing this out there right now. I would even venture to say, the person on this little panel here that hates platformers would play this game.
I don't know. I would actually say,
hold on, because it's not actual platforming; it's more of just storytelling. But the name of the game is American Arcadia, and the premise is basically you have a guy who shows up to work one day, talking to his buddy. Buddy disappears the next day, and then like a couple days later, his buddy had won a trip somewhere that he knows good and well his buddy never signed up to win this trip. And you in the game, basically everything kind of unravels on what's really happening, because I don't want to give anything away on this one because it's very story driven, and the conversations that take place, somebody's usually always talking to help tell you the story. And it's really well presented. And then you have the guy character that's there. Everything he does is in 2.5D. So you're always going left or right with him. And it's usually simple stuff like just picking stuff up or something like that. And sometimes you do have a little bit of platforming to take place, but it's not super difficult. Then you have your other character that'll get introduced, which is a female character, and everything she does is in first person. So you always know which character you're playing as. And there's one part where I was playing as her and him at the same time, which was very interesting from a gameplay standpoint. But it was like story-wise, absolutely amazing. And it might be one of those where like Chicken needs to play the game and you watch him play, but it will be like story-wise, absolutely amazing game. I am through chapter 4. I think there's 8 chapters total. So I'm about halfway through the game. It took about 4 hours. And part of that was just them telling story stuff, right? So, but like the game itself is fantastic. I got it on Steam sale. I think I got it for $12 or something on Steam sale, and it's like normally $20. So it's worth it. But that game, very simple. Nobody has noses. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. No noses.
No noses. Nobody has noses. But it is just a really, really well told story. And I'm like, I had put it on my wish list, I guess, at some point. So I must have seen a video of it somewhere. And I was like, I popped it up. It was one of those things where it's like, so-and-so, it's currently on sale on your wish list. And I clicked over to it. But I loved it. Like, I love this game. I plan on playing it tomorrow night and like finishing it up tomorrow night. Try to get it done before I leave. And like, it's just because now I'm in it. Like, I'm ready to play. But it's just really, really well done. when it comes to the story wise and how they're telling a story. It kind of reminds me of the is it Hazelight, the crazy dude that does the is doing Split Fiction and all that stuff.
Oh,
Isn't that the name of that company now?
I
I think
remember.
so.
Sorry, I was reading about this game.
That's what it reminds me of. Is a game like that where he's figured out new elements, but in this case, you're one person playing versus two people playing. Hazelight.
Hazelight Studios.
Yeah, and so like it's so just it's there are elements of it because both of you know, and when anybody that's ever listened to the show knows I'm a big Disney guy. And there's elements of it that I know who they're straight up taking the story of Disney and making this as their base to create everything else. And it's great. Like one of the guys' name is Elijah Walton, and he's like the Walt Disney character. Walter Elias Disney, so Elijah Walton. And I was like,
all right,
okay, I got you. So and he was like the founder of what's happening. But and it's great. Like it's just there's elements like that. There's a character that reminds me of Morpheus from Matrix. So it's like that type of thing, but really good. I've enjoyed it so far.
Very nice. We got to see our child's first foray into actually playing a game by himself, and it was pretty cool because it was Stardew Valley.
Yes.
He was doing it
actually
himself.
playing it by himself. I mean, it was perfect. Ugh.
How many times did he fall asleep in the middle of the
none, because we were playing, it was New Year's night, and we were playing with Baka
New Year's Eve.
and New Year's Eve, and Baka and Kat, and he was getting to stay up till midnight, so he was up
past midnight.
He stayed up till midnight. He got there. Kudos
Good
to
for
him,
him.
first of all. But yeah, he came over while I was playing, and he won. He's like, how do I do that? And I was like, you push these buttons. So I showed him the WASD keys, and he started doing that because on his tablet he plays these little kid games that are like, what movements does it take to get to the end? And he would, he learns how to do the up, left, right, down, things like that to move the character. So
Right.
him coming to this, he was like, oh. And you just see him kind of mashing it and moving his little character around. He's like, oh, I got this. How do I get to there? And then he'd figure it out, and then he'd start moving the character properly. I was like, oh, look at him go.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, how do I do that? And I was like, you push the number. He knows his numbers. So he pushed the number, and he'd pull out the axe, and then he'd start hitting a tree. And I was like, that's right. That's right. You click that button right there. That's right. Oh, and then he'd just like, okay. And I'd try to show me like, no. I know how to do this.
And you're like, okay.
All right. So he's just walking around.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe Stardew Valley is on tablets nowadays.
It might be, but
Yeah, but I think he likes the keyboard mouse. I'm training him right. Train him right. He that was one time when he played it the second time. He started getting the dual hand thing down, where he was holding on to the mouse and pushing the WASD. I was like, oh,
which is great to see a kid his age with a mouse in his hand because his hand looks so tiny next to it.
It's so big. He's like holding the whole
He's got to like slide up and like click.
It's like us holding a basketball, right? Like
yeah,
yeah.
Because he's 4, so we just
Yep. So yeah, that was incredible to watch. Finally his first foray. He super loved it.
Yeah,
too.
as gamer parents, it's like, yay, our little gamer. That was fun. As far as what we've been playing, or I guess me, we've been playing a lot of Marvel. I mean, it's fun. It's free. I can sometimes yell at people and sometimes not.
Jeff's
I
your
did
favorite
pretty
character.
well. Come on. What?
Jeff's your favorite character.
No, I'm tired of all of the Jeffs in my games because Jeff the Shark. I'm sorry. I know y'all are like, he's so adorable. Look at his little lovely no brain cells. So adorable. Fuck that Jeff. Fuck you.
All I'm saying is once you get better and you put your little web shit somewhere away from the point and you see Jeff coming in, you web yourself up there and hold yourself to the ceiling so that he can't get you. You'll be faster. You'll be able to outmaneuver him.
I hate that shark. Hate that
I
thing.
know you do. You have to outplay him. Every character has a gimmick. God damn it. You just got to learn how to avoid it as
And
best as you
we
can.
also, like, I just need Jeffs to stop showing up in my gaming life.
Oh, he's too good.
Because we've also started playing Back for Blood with Virtue and Cat. And I was like, oh, we bought the whatever the fancy full DLC version is. So there's characters I've never played before. And there's a lady that's an archer. And I was like, cool, I want the bow and arrow. Oh, she comes with an ability to call a friend in. It's a tall boy named Jeff. Get out
Well,
of
and
my
then
face.
we played a game the other night that was the prop hunt game. The prop hunter game has a character named Jeff as well.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. They're everywhere. Like,
They are everywhere.
I can't get away from
Everywhere
Jeffs.
you look.
I just can't. They're everywhere. Ugh, just stop.
It's funny.
But that's also been fun. Playing Back for Blood with them has been interesting.
Mhm.
Do you like the game?
I mean, it's okay. It's definitely got a lot of things that it's, feels samey to other games, but I do like some of the things they've put into it. Like, well, no. I mean, like, it is basically
It's the
Left 4
people
Dead.
that.
Yeah, I know.
It's the people
it's
who made
basically
Left 4 Dead. How would you?
But I like things like the random cards that you can find in the world. And I feel like that's a game. Left 4 Dead, sometimes I can see playing with my friends or by myself, but I feel like Back 4 Blood is one that you really only play if you're going in with a group. Like, I don't know, something about the dynamic too. It feels like if you don't have the group, it's not as much fun. I guess it's because there are so many other modifiers, like don't touch the birds, don't touch the doors, and with the NPCs, I guess they're probably not, like, they're designed not to do that, but you have the chaos element with your friends who are like, I stuffed all the birds, I didn't see them,
I try to ping as much as I can.
It's just, the unpredictability of your friends is more fun, I think. Not saying, again, like I said earlier, please do not think that we need no single player games. Obviously, we really friggin' do. But there are several games that are just way more fun if you can take your friends with them.
Right.
So, but it's been fun. I kind of am I don't know when we're going to get to play next, but I'm kind of looking forward to it.
It'll depend on who's available and when.
Yeah. And our supermarket game. They did introduce broom skins, so now you can beat people with fancy brooms.
Yay, fancy brooms.
Oh, but only you get to see your broom skin. And as soon as you put the broom down, it turns back into a normal broom. So it's kind of like, but at the same time, it's free.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I was going to say it's a free game. You don't
So
get to
even when
complain
you're
with it.
holding it,
If you're holding it, only you
applied.
can see the
Yes.
skin, what you have. So your
That's
broom looks
lame.
fancy to you, but to everybody else, it looks like a normal broom.
that's lame. Like, I'd be fine if it was only when I'm holding it, everybody around me could see the skin too. Kind of like the guns in Call of Duty or whatever. When I pick them up, they have a certain look to them. But if I drop them afterward, they actually look the same as when I held them. But
It's free. I don't really care. It's still fun to hit people with it, decorated or not. So, but yeah. I also, for the first time, I was replaying Mass Effect and I sacrificed Caden because it put me in a relationship with him again and I'm tired of it. So I was like, I'm sorry, Caden. You have to go. And then immediately when it's like, all right, I picked Ashley. I don't know where to go to get Ashley because I've never done this.
All I'm saying is that she was willing to kill the dude instead of breaking up with him. She's like, I ain't doing this. You're just gonna have to die.
that dude's
for
so
me."
thirsty though, man.
So
It's
is
like-
Ashley.
Him and Ashley are thirsty. If you ever look in their general direction or open up a dialogue box, you're automatically engaged.
Yeah, let me tell you, a lot of people just bought the Mass Effect collection this Steam sale because it's on sale for like $5 or whatever. If you're playing the first Mass Effect, if you've talked to Ashley or Caden as the opposite gender of them and you do not want to romance them, go ahead and reload. I don't care how many hours in. Because the game has automatically assumed, since you breathed in their general vicinity, you guys are ready to get married.
We shared air. We're sharing a life now.
Yeah, that is exactly what it feels like. So, this is the first time I've ever sacrificed Caden. Sorry. That's what you get for being too thirsty, though. Never again. I'll never do it again. I just won't ever talk to him when I play these games again. Like, just don't talk to either one of them in Mass Effect 1. There's no side quests associated with them or anything. If you do not want to romance them, just never speak to them as crewmates.
Guess I never thought about that. There's no bonding quest, if you will.
Well, in the first one, there's really not for most of the crew. Like, you pick up Liara, so that's kind of your bonding quest, and you can take her to the big matriarch Benezia arc of it if you want, which is supposed to be bondy. But, like, Tali, I don't think has much. There's some data that you can give her if you find it. She'll ask you for it if you talk to her after that. But both Rex and Garrus do have missions that they want you to help with if you talk to them.
Right.
So it's like, I don't like the disparity. Either they all have missions or none of them do. And if they all have missions, don't make me talk to Caden or Ashley, please.
When that game came out in what, 2007?
Maybe, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
Almost 20 years ago.
Stop it.
Yeah, that's right. It was November 20th, 2007, so 18 years ago. That's right. 2007 was 18 years ago. Get ready. Get ready. Anyway, but yeah, that's early romance. Again, people like us who played games from way back then go, wow, that's terrible. And then we play games, you know, with modern romances like
What
Baldur's
month
Gate, and
did
you're
you
like,
say?
wow.
What month did you
November.
say?
November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
So
30.
17 years and 3 months, 17 years and 1 month, 2 months. Okay, that's still a long time ago. But yeah, that was a long time ago. Those are early game romances, but long before we had any sort of development
You've
between
spoken
characters.
to me. We must bone.
Yeah,
Wait, that's not real life? Wow.
I mean
Y'all
for
live a
certain
sad
people.
life.
Oh, Eleanor. Just got random cat attack over here.
Anyway, what else have you played, Griff?
I mean, I've played a lot of little stuff, but those are the highlights, I suppose. What about you, Chicken?
I haven't played shit. Marvel Rivals, of course. We've played Tabletop. I have played Tabletop several times with
Yeah!
many variations.
That was fun, getting back to our board game, card game roots.
I've personally been hooked on playing Betrayal at the Betrayal
Betrayal at House on Haunted Hill.
Betrayal on the Haunted. Yeah, something
That's
like
what
that.
I just said it.
Something like that. What did you say it was?
Betrayal at House on Haunted Hill.
Betrayal at House on the Hill.
On the hill. Sorry, Haunted Hill.
Betrayal at House on the Hill. Anyway, it's a 6-player game. It's a board game, so it's tabletop. And it's a little bit like Clue meets Scooby-Doo, where you've got your 6 characters. There's 2 types of people for every person, so you can kind of choose between the characters. You've got stats, physical stats, mental stats, and your job is to explore the house. So you can move your character through, and when you find an empty spot, like a doorway that leads to nothing, you get a room card and you kind of flip it over, and the room is random, and it has an icon on there, and then you can, you play from whatever the icon is, and eventually, as you explore the house, make it bigger and more expanded, you will come across these little omens. Once you roll it, and eventually, I'm not getting into like the actual rules. When you roll it the wrong way, the haunt starts, which is the second half of the game. The first half, just exploring, play with your friends, chill out. Second half of the game, when the haunt starts, when somebody inevitably triggers it. Yeah, it was him, but Snitty became the traitor. One person becomes a traitor based on what haunt starts. There's like 50 something haunts.
I think what's neat about that is the fact that everybody else that's not the traitor can see in one box, and then he can see in the other. Like, I think that's neat that it's set up that way in tabletop. So it's like,
yeah,
they updated all of the characters in the here. I'll put a link to it in the Discord, but they updated all of the characters now. Hang on, I'll just put it over here because we're talking about it. That way it's not so confusing.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun because then at that point, Snitty became like this. It almost felt like a Mind Flayer style beast. And his job was to kill all of us, and ours was to learn his name. We almost beat him. It was down to Baka the last chance, because you have to speak his name. If you speak his name, you free the people that he has controlled, and he was in a room with like 3 of us, so If he would have
To
spoke
be
his
fair,
name
it would
right,
have been sooner had it not been for the fact that Red decided to leave the revolver in a trap
oh
room.
my god.
Yeah, Red really screwed
To be
everybody.
fair, if he didn't do that, Baka could have stepped into the next room and shot Griff to stop her from burning the
I
book.
kind of liked
Mhm.
being on the bad side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To be
that's
fair, a
pretty
lot
great.
of people do like the bad side. It's kind of neat. I was a zombie lord in one of them where I had a bunch of zombies spawn in, and then every time I kill somebody, they become a zombie, and their job is to kill everybody else. So it was neat. It was pretty neat. There's a whole bunch of different variations for it, different objectives, different things, and how to win. But yeah, it's a really fun game. If you got 6 friends, you just sit down, explore a house for fun, and then. But yeah, we've played it like 4 or 5 times now. I enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun.
I'm
We also
pretty
tried to play a game called Dead Winter. It's far, far, far more
Complicated.
complicated.
It's way too complicated.
I know how it works now, and I could probably get us to run around a lot faster. But oh my god, it took us like 3 hours to learn how to play last
It's like
time.
two or three Christmases ago, I bought the Goonies board game for us as a family to play. And then I started reading the instructions and went, nope, we're going to have to wait until everybody's at least over the age of 12 before.
I
we
wonder if
get
that's in the
this.
tabletop thing. Maybe we could play it as a big group.
Probably,
Maybe.
probably. But yeah, we played that. We've been hitting tabletop a little bit a few times. It's fun. It's nice to get back to the roots of gaming. Dice games, card games, things like that.
Mm-hmm. It
The
can
Marvel
also
Rivals,
be a
of
bit more
course.
chill.
Yes.
Not totally chill, but a bit.
Yes.
We're still all competitive.
Depending on what it is. I've hit Supermarket Together pretty hard. I've been letting my days run just because I'm trying to get the damn $1 million achievement. Back for Blood, yeah, 7 days. 7 days. I think Thursday was the first time I played in like over 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've kind of fallen out of that when we hit our like 150
I
plus
got
hours.
192.6 hours in there, so
I have
yep, just under the 200.
206, So
Yeah, just underneath the 200-hour mark. Yep, it's just, and I got 34 out of the 43 achievements. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Hey.
And I've also started that game that I was telling you guys about, the Summoner. That game.
Mhm.
I like it. It's an old game. Basically, it's called the Summoner. It plays out just like that. Every so often, somebody is born with magical powers. Like in the Avatar, there's one person who can control all the elements. In this one, there's one person who can call upon the deities and the power to summon things with specific rings. And this guy was tricked when he was younger. He was like 9. And they gave him a ring, and he's like, use this ring to save your village. And he used it, and it spawned a demon, which killed his family, and everybody in the entire village basically killed everything. And he threw it down the well and ran off in isolation. And now he lives as some peasant farmer. Now the hierarchy is looking for him to use him for his powers, so it started a war. So now he's got to try to get his power, get more rings, and make himself more powerful so that he can stop it, because he's technically the most omnipotent being there is in this world if he chooses to follow it. So I beat it back then. I beat it way back then. I made a point to beat it because I enjoyed it. I remember it being so difficult too. Some of those fights are incredibly tricky. It has combat people like the first Witcher. The chain clicking where you got to click every time? Yeah, it's got that kind of chain combat. Just like that.
That game is 25 years old this coming October.
What, Summoner?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, old game. That's why it was $1.
Did you play the sequel?
I did not play the sequel. I don't think the sequel's on Steam either. I looked for it.
Yeah, it was released in 2 years after that. 2002.
Yeah, some people didn't like that one as much because of certain aspects that they've changed in the gameplay. Like I said, I haven't played it, so I can't say that one way or another. Yeah, it's not on Steam.
It says that Nordic actually, for those people that might have a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5, they released the PlayStation 2 version on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 in June of 2024.
Nice. And one of the best things about opening up that game is you get the real THQ logo. The real THQ logo and the Volition logo too.
Yeah, the old school Volition logo.
Yeah, the classics. The classics right there. Game from 25 years ago.
This is kind of funny. Like I'm looking at the names of the characters that pop up in the plot, and it's like the main person is Joseph, and then you have like, I guess Fleece, Flecee, and then you have Rosalind, which is kind of a normal name, and then you have Jakar, Jekha. So it's like Joseph is the only name that's like a normal name.
Yeah, Jakar is somebody from the village. You killed his whole family, and now he absolutely hates you. But some things play out that he learns because it's a 5-party system too. There are 5 players plus or 5 characters plus your summon. And this is gonna blow your mind. That game is multiplayer.
Really?
That's right.
Co-op, I guess.
Yes.
Huh.
There's even mods for it too to help make it even better. But yeah, it's multiplayer. It runs you can run it these days too. It's interesting.
That's cool.
Ooh, the Goonies. It is.
It is on table.
Oh wow, that is a lot.
Yeah.
It'll take me a few. All right, Oak. If you want us to play this game, you have to let me know beforehand so that I can read these rules, so that we're not spending
It's a lot, isn't it?
so that I don't spend 3 hours looking at it. Oh my god. What is it? A 6-player game? 4-player? 5-player? Looks like
I don't
5.
know. I have no idea.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it looks like 5. There's 3 on this side of the table and 2 on the other. So
Yeah, we can look at it after a while. And...
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, just let us know and we'll try to play it. You just got to give me time to read it.
I can't believe you found it.
I just searched. No big deal.
No big deal. I know how to use search engines.
I know you how to use the Steam search function for the workshop stuff. I'm just saying. Okay. Anything else?
No, that's about all
That was a good
I played.
big old starter show for the year. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Once every 2 weeks, it's what? An hour?
Yeah.
A little less than an hour an episode?
I'm at an hour 40 right now, so.
Yep.
Yep.
About right. Well, we do appreciate everybody who hangs out with us every other week. Welcome to 2025, folks.
Yeah,
Infinite
here we
Respawn.
are.
Woo-hoo. Make sure you hit the sub button at the bottom as well as the little bell so you get that notification when one of these goes live. For Infinite Respawn, I'm Oak Tree.
Griff.
I'm Chicken.
Baka's not here.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.